Okay, let's move on to Tamil Nadu. As we told you in the beginning of the show, we'll be focusing on the story that's come in from Chennai, where unfortunately a 17-year-old boy lost his life, died due to electrocution. Nafil, a teenager, was electrocuted after stepping in a waterlogged street. The street had a live electric wire running through the water, a tragedy waiting to happen. And unfortunately, we've seen this happen far too often, this time in Chennai. This young boy was on his way to tuition for a tuition class when this occurred. He was walking through a waterlogged road, electric live wire. He was electrocuted to death. He didn't stand a chance. His family is devastated. They're questioning very clearly government negligence. And here's why. Because the family has said that they actually called the electricity department multiple times about exposed wires, about unsafe conditions in the area. 10 days before this incident happened, nothing was done about it. No one from the corporation turned up. No officials were there to address this problem. And so what happened? 10 days later, tragedy has struck. This life could have been saved. And we're talking about a young 17-year-old boy who's died as a result, let's be very, very clear, of negligence.
Terrible neglect and apathy by the officers in Tamil Nadu's electricity department has resulted in the death of a 17-year-old Nafil who was returning home from his tuition center. That blue cable that you see, that's a perfectly fine cable. But the cable next to it that has the plastic coating completely ripped off and there's copper wire that's coming out of it. That is what caused the electricity to leak into a pool of stagnated water. And yesterday when Nafil was returning from his tuition, he stepped into this pool of water here because he was just about to enter his home. This is where Nafil used to reside and his mother was inside. As soon as he was walking from his tuition center to get back to his home, he stepped into that patch of land that we showed you, and that's where he immediately screamed and collapsed on the floor because of the heavy electrocution that he had to undergo. We are hearing from the residents over here that there was some kind of work that was being done and this patch of road was being dug up in order to lay a concrete road over here, this concrete tiles that you see. That's the reason why there was some kind of work going on, and in that process there was some kind of neglect and damage done to those to those cables over there, which went unfixed. With camera person Divyan, Anaga Keshav reporting for India Today from Chennai.
The locals angry there for obvious reasons. Anaga Keshav is joining me live on this broadcast. Anaga, you've spoken to the family members, to the locals. They are saying at this point that they had issued clear complaints. There were complaints sent across to the electricity department and nothing was done to address this problem.
Well, that's right, Rakshita. In fact, the residents who are residing on that particular street, they tried reaching out to the EB board multiple times, but every single attempt went to no avail. The officers, they either hung up the call insensitively or did some sort of a hollow assurance that somebody would turn up, but nobody really did. And remember, this had been happening for the last 10 days. This life that was lost, that could have been avoided. But despite multiple alerts being sent to the officers of electricity department, nothing was being done. And that resulted in the loss of life of a young 17-year-old boy. In fact, in that particular, there were two dug up cables, one that was perfectly fine, but there was another neighboring cable that had live copper wire sticking out, and that resulted in leaking of electricity into a pool of stagnated water, which resulted in young Mohammed Nafil's death.
Unfortunate, heartbreaking really that these kind of tragedies continue to occur. And we're talking about a teenager with such a bright future, his life cut short thanks to negligence and apathy. And this is a story that we will continue to track because we see this happening far too often, like I said. So we've pulled out a couple of these instances that we've seen. In Chennai, a 17-year-old electrocuted. It's happened in Kerala. It's happened in Bengaluru, in Delhi too. How long is this going to be acceptable for us that lives are cut short simply for people stepping out of their homes electrocuted to death because of poor public infrastructure?